Hi guys, welcome to the show. It's Monday, April 12th, and hey, I'm celebrating. Middle of April and the Leafs are still in the running for the playoffs. That hasn't happened in a long time. And not only are they in the running, they are number one in their division and number two in the NHL. Can you imagine? Number two in the league. We're crowding in on playoff time. And I know what you're thinking. Obviously, a lot of years when they get in that home stretch, things take a bit of a dive, but this may be the year. So all this week, we're celebrating with Maple Leafs. Now, let's get on to the show. Today's jazz, so we're looking at big band. And I went through my collection. I happened on a couple of albums I haven't listened to a lot, but they were significant albums. I really enjoyed them when I first got them. And a couple that some of you may not have heard of, but worth checking out if you can find them online on any of the streaming networks. And the first one was the Dave Holland Big Band. Now, Dave Holland's a bass player. I first became aware of his playing when he was with Miles Davis. Miles at Fillmore was my first Miles Davis album, and Dave Holland was playing bass on that. And some of the early 70s albums, we got Bitches Brew, In a Silent Way, Live Evil. Dave Holland was a regular player with Miles. Now, when I look at his discography, there's a lot. It's really a who's who of who he's played with. He's certainly done a lot of work on his own, done a lot of work as a sideman. But this album was one of where they featured his big band. Now, I picked this one because at the time, Dave Holland was winning the Downbeat polls, and I think this was one of the albums that Downbeat had rated as one of their top picks in the critics poll and in the readers poll. And it's an album called Overtime. Again, I'll just show you the cover. Now, I don't know a lot of the players he has with him. There's a couple of the names stick out. Most of the album is Dave Holland originals. One that isn't is by Robin Eubanks, who was playing trombone for him at the time. I'll just give you an idea who was playing with him in case there's some of your favorite players here, and you might want to check that out as well. So we had Antonio Hart on alto sax, Mark Gross on alto sax, Chris Potter, tenor saxophone. And again, there's a name I do recognize as a player I know. Gary Sumlian, Robin Eubanks on trombone, Jonathan Aarons on trombone, Josh Roseman. We have Taylor Haskins on trumpet. Not familiar with him, and usually it's the trumpet players that I'm buying these albums for, but this time it was for Dave Holland. Also on trumpet, we have Alex Sipigan, Dwayne Eubanks, Steve Nelson on vibraphone, Dave Holland on bass, and Billy Kilson on drums. So an album you might want to check out. Again, if you're a Dave Holland fan, you maybe already know about it. If you're not, but you've heard him on other albums, here's a chance to hear him as a leader and a lot of his original material. Now, the other album I picked up was by Gerald Wilson, trumpet player, composer, arranger, big band leader. And I first became aware of Gerald Wilson. You may remember back on one of our episodes about Al Hirt. I featured one of the albums, Al Hirt at Carnegie Hall, and Gerald Wilson was leading the band behind Al Hirt for that gig. So that's where I first became aware of him. So that was quite a while ago. And this one was called Gerald Wilson, In My Time. Now, most of the songs, we've got two songs on the album that are not Gerald Wilson tunes. Obviously, we've got So What, Love for Sale. Those two were written, one by Cole Porter and the other, I forget who the other one was on there. I should know. Well, I'll have to check that out again later. Conductor and arranger, the orchestra was the key part on this one. He has some great players. Just to give you an idea, and again, trumpet section's my ones I focus on. We got the great John Faddis on trumpet. Now, John Faddis, you may remember, we've talked about him a couple of times. He was doing some of those CTI gigs on Creed Taylor records for people like Diodato and Bob James. He played on the Buddy Rich studio album, the one we didn't care for that much, that Speak No Evil. A regular sideman for New York gigs. So we've got him on trumpet. We got Jimmy Owens on trumpet. Jeremy Pelt. We've got Sean Jones. Some excellent trumpet players and people that were leaders in their own right. On trombone, we've got Benny Powell, Denny Wilson, and Douglas Purviance. Tenor saxophone. When I look through the names here, the one that sticks out, Jerry Dodson. Russell Malone on guitar. And we've got Rene Rosen on piano. I mean, some excellent players. Gerald Wilson does a great job of writing, a great job of arranging. Some of these were contracted by Faddis, who also was the contractor for the gig, and picked what he thought were some of the best players to add along with the band. If you haven't heard a lot of Gerald Wilson, check it out. I mean, there are some older albums out where he was actually playing trumpet on or where he was leading the band, but in the years I became aware of him, he was more just as a band leader, arranger, and conductor. And these show some great compositions. Like I say, all the compositions except for two are written by Gerald Wilson, and the arrangements. He's got an excellent band of studio musicians and friends that are in there helping out. They put together a very different kind of big band. I'm going to call this more contemporary big band music than what we've been used to featuring. So 2 albums that are worth checking out. Dave Holland Big Band, and anything by the Gerald Wilson Big Band. Okay, thanks for stopping by. Everybody, hope you have a safe week. Stay home. Don't forget to check up on your vaccinations, wear your masks, keep social distancing, and let's get through this and back out to enjoying live music. We'll see you on Wednesday. Take care.